And welcome to the Supersubs podcast. This is February 8th. We are live and in color. All of the gang is here. Colburn, Chris, Brian, here to talk about some more soccer as usual. Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you to join us along on this journey. We have, thanks to Chris, all of our Instagram, TikTok, YouTube pages up and running. So please, over the course of this episode, if you like what you hear, give us a like, give us a subscribe, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, as they say. Support us. We appreciate it. We're just doing this for the love of the game. So I appreciate if you enjoy it too. So that's my little PSA. Gentlemen, how are you doing this morning or this afternoon or this evening, or depending on where you are?
I'm doing great. I've stepped my game up a bit, joined today by Leo after winning his 7th Ballon d'Or a few months ago. So he celebrated with a nice little chip on the weekend. So Chris will talk about that later, but yeah, happy to be here.
Yeah, pretty sweet. Thanks for joining us on our social and showing all the support. Especially on TikTok, it's been wild. It's been very exciting to see the response to our little show here. So thank you so much, and yeah, follow us so you can get a little bit more of this content. I'm excited to talk about what happened in the world of football this weekend.
So Chris, you've got Mbappe behind you. I've got Messi. Colburn, I know this is a football show. What have we got going on behind you?
You know what? For those that this is on a need to know basis only. For those that follow anime, Demon Slayer, the second to last episode of the latest season came out. The best anime 30 minutes I've ever watched. So if anyone's interested, you just because you're not interested. Just because you're not interested, I highly recommend.
Right there. That's all you need.
I'll just say Demon Slayer is worth your time. It was a special episode. If you know, you know. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, let's get to the football.
Yeah, let's get into it. So Chris, I know we got to start with Serie A, my favorite league, the league for the refined palate. We had a huge barn burner. The Derby Della Madonnina was, as usual, delivering the goods for us with AC Milan coming from behind to win 2-1. What are our thoughts here, gentlemen? What a game. Huge game for Serie A and huge game for those two teams.
Yeah, I thought it was an awesome game. Pretty interesting. Milan coming back, going down early. The first half, I didn't think that they had anything going for them at all. And then made a couple of key subs. Kessie came out of the game. Brahim Diaz was really influential, and not that we talk about French players enough, but Olivier Giroud with 2 huge goals back to back. Chris. And that was it. Just snatched 3 points. Serie A race wide open. I know that Inter still got a game in hand on a few teams, but great for the title race.
Yeah. So basically very similar to what I saw, I thought. So first half to basically when Simone Inzaghi starts to making some substitution that are not necessarily on point as the results showed. It was basically dominating until there. Then Piopoli also made some mistakes in the first half when he tried to do basically a man marking on Zeko from Kessié, and that didn't really work really well. And also like Dumfries was kind of owning Theo Hernandez.
Oh, he was excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I know, for the first half and cracked at the end with that red card, like unnecessary well down in the injury.
Oh, Chris, I have to tell you, I know you love him, but that was an outrageous red card.
That's one of his mistakes when, at Milan, and the reason why Didier Deschamps was not a big fan of his and the why he always resisted to get Theo Hernandez was, hey, on the left side, we got like plenty of left backs in France and we're fine. I really like Lucas Hernandez, his brother, even though that's not his natural position, he's more of a center back. So I'm good there. And then I have Ferland Mendy, which I don't call up either. So I don't need Theo Hernandez, like everything's like, oh, oh, against Xherdan, we're running out of left back. Luke Hadding's injured. Okay, I have to play Antoine Rabiot. Okay. I'm losing against, I'm drawing against Ukraine. Okay, I need to win at home against Finland. Okay, we're gonna play a back three. Fernandez, how come you play on the left side? Okay, cool. Scores, assist, and then basically score or assist any game following the French team to the Nations League. And if they won the Nations League, it's because of him, Mbappe, and Karim the Dream.
Ding, ding, ding.
It's an automatic mention.
But back to the game. Simone Inzaghi basically ended it on a silver platter to Milan, honestly, by making those strategical and tactical mistakes. I thought from like those substitutions that were uncalled for and really not following the game, because Inter was dominating until then.
Yeah.
The reason why Milan stayed in the game was, I'm sorry to bring that up, but honestly, like the French guys in this game were outstanding.
Oh, we have plenty of French guys in this game.
Mike Maignan, like there are conversations.
He was excellent.
I know, like they would have been 3-0 halftime if he wasn't there. So apparently no regrets from Donnarumma, who's also like an outstanding goalkeeper, which honestly I would put slightly above Mike Maignan, and I do love Mike Maignan. And there is a conversation in France that Mike Maignan should maybe starting for France, but you know, Didier Deschamps is about, you've been here, you're my captain, Lloris, even though your ball play sucks, and in the final of the World Cup, you try to.
Oh, this is great, Chris. Tell me how you really feel.
No. I think unfortunately, like Lloris wasn't starting at Lloris at the start of the World Cup was kind of not really in the good odds, and there were doubts about him, but the backup wasn't good at the time. Maignan hadn't risen yet, and so then he had like the best tournament at the best time that he had with Paul Pogba at the same time, where he was very decisive against like Uruguay, and several times at key moments where France was near and keeping them afloat. But the ball play, he has the ball play of like a 90s goalkeeper, unfortunately. But he's a captain, he has the leadership skill and everything, but Mike Maignan also has that. And on top of that, his ball play is like really good. He's not on the level of Ederson, obviously, and not maybe close to Neuer, but like on his line and all that stuff, like honestly, it's really, really good thing. Now I'd love to talk about Olivier Giroud, who's honestly first 60 minutes really sucked, honestly.
Oh, classic, I would say.
Yeah, like Ibrahimovic, Zlatan would have been available. He would probably have been subbed off before he would have scored his brace, right? What do you think, Corbin?
I agree. 100%. 1,000%. I thought he was terrible. Completely invisible, as I find he is for most games that I watch him in, actually. And then out of nowhere.
Every game. He skipped the whole World Cup and still managed to win.
Yes.
He basically didn't participate in their World Cup winning run, even though he was out there every game.
So that's a French tradition. If your number 9 doesn't score a goal, France wins the World Cup. Same thing in 1998. Guy Varche, who's only played in France and now sells outdoor swimming pool. I kid you not. I've not scored any goals during the whole tournament. So for the next World Cup, if I don't know.
They should bring Giroud up. I can guarantee you he won't be scoring again.
No,
100%. No chance. Maybe Big Ben doesn't need to come then. He doesn't need to be in Qatar.
But Benz plays like a 10, so that would not.
Oh, that's hilarious. For our viewers at home, Chris has a small, very small, imperceptible soft spot for Karim the Dream.
I don't know what makes you say that.
That's hilarious. But I will say, getting back to Giroud, his 2 goals were exceptional. The second one was world class. That touch to set himself up for the curler on the actual shot was sublime, I should say. So as long as he's not asked to do anything else other than, put the ball in the back of the net on those 2 touches, I thought those 2 goals were exceptional. The first one was very opportunistic, and the second one was like world class.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that combination of turn, and even though on the second the combination was amazing, and Andanovic could have done a little bit better.
Maybe, yeah.
I thought so. Yeah.
But
I didn't
like,
want to take away from Olivier, but
I don't know. I agree, Brian. I think probably he should have done a little better, but that I thought the touch itself.
Turn.
Oh
yeah.
Oh.
I know the defender is still at the bar. He went the other way.
It was exceptional, and it was worthy of a game winner. I will say. I thought that was a perfectly apropos finish.
Yeah, I was thinking back to Theo Hernandez. Even though Dumfries was giving him some issues, like you're saying, Chris, you can see the talent though, and he battled back. I know that the red card is a bit crazy, but in a way, it was a great foul. Now he's going to get suspended, so that's not a great part of it. But he broke up what could have been some kind of a counter, and it just ended the game. So yeah, he's a bit of a wild card, but I liked a lot of what he did, hanging with Dumfries, and then he's got some really great technical ability to go forward. And yeah, Didier Deschamps should have been watching.
I like him for France too, by the way. He was great in the Nations League. I know Brian's a big Hernandez guy as well. Loves that guy.
He's a beast. A total beast, I think.
Yeah. No, it's outstanding. Like I've been asking for him for a year to change it, and he's worked. Like the system that he's changed has worked. And also at Milan, like he's learning from the best in the business in terms of defense, because that was one reason Didier Deschamps didn't call him. Oh yeah, I don't know. Like when they ask him, like, why do you put him as a midfield on the squad list? Well, he's not really a defender, and he's not either a forward, so that's why I put him as a midfield. Okay, funny joke. Okay. But like seriously, that's his thinking too. He's like, okay, Paolo Maldini, the sporting director of Milan, will teach him how to defend, and he's made some key progress in that area. And he's gonna be like one of the most complete left back. And this is great, like in terms of his attacking play, and exactly as what you said, like his like grinta and fighting spirit that he's learned from Atletico and in Spain. That's what makes it different as a French player, that some French players don't have that fighting spirit all the time, where he has fighting spirit from the first minute to the last, as we saw very well on that game.
It's just too bad he's not right-footed. Then he could play for Pavard.
Don't bring up those topics, man. Yes, that would be better on the right side. But that's, I like also that on his right side in the back three, he plays with his brother. I do like that storyline as well. So like I feel really confident going in the World Cup on the left side. For me, it's about like Varane, is he coming back to form? And on the right side, it sounds like Benjamin Pavard is starting to actually perform for Bayern Munich. So that would be amazing on that side. But going back to the game, a couple of things I wanted to say is like Pierre Kalulu, I think he's not under the lights. He's a French player that plays center back and also on the right side of the defense, as you mentioned, as a right back. So I'm also hoping he can get a look from Didier Deschamps on that right side where we don't have a big depth. That's probably one of the only positions when we have big depth. So I would love to see Pierre Kalulu get a call up, but France will play against Ivory Coast and South Africa. At first, they were rumored to play in Qatar in the tournament, and Qatar might not have paid the French national team enough. So that's why they're like, okay, we're gonna play in Marseille against, and also Didier Deschamps doesn't want to play against big teams before a tournament like very old school as Didier Deschamps is, but he's a winner, so you cannot criticize him, unfortunately. And Kessier
for you, Chris. Yeah. That's all I'll say about that. This show will be ground zero for the Deschamps regime change shortly, I'm sure, if they don't perform.
Well, that's the thing. If it doesn't perform, Zinedine Zidane comes afterwards. So I'm not really. I'm feeling pretty good about that. or he could go to Paris Saint-Germain because Deschamps said like, hey, if I do well at the World Cup, I'm still there, 10 years, 11 years, can I break a record? So he's like, yeah, I'm not leaving anytime soon. So if he wins, yeah, but if he doesn't and Zidane decides to go to Paris Saint-Germain, then France doesn't really have a really good coach afterwards. So they might even still have to extend Deschamps anyway. So, but that's a different story. Let's go back to Serie A. Colburn, I'd love to hear your take about Juve and Vlahovic and Zakaria of the world.
Oh, man. So let me just say the fact that Juventus, fresh off of their January transfer signings, win 2-0 at home with both transfer signings scoring is almost too good to be true for a Juve fan. For a non-Juve fan, it's very worrying, frankly, because they have always been sort of a sleeping giant, especially, this season in Serie A. They've been well asleep in the first half of the season. And they have very quietly since losing to Atalanta at home, they haven't lost in Serie A. And they're slowly climbing up the table. I, as a non-Juventus fan, but the fact that I love Allegri, I'm a little torn by this. The fact that they both scored is pretty wild, and both Morata and Dybala played at the same time. So Vlahovic, Dybala, and Morata all played up front, which I thought was wild, and it worked. They stomped Hellas Verona, as they should, at home. But I think it's worrying for me because I don't want to see them win the Scudetto, which I don't think they will, but they are cruising right now. They're in top form.
And do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really have much to say about Juventus. They should be beating Hellas Verona, even if they aren't signing new players. So I'm not going to put a ton of stock into it. We'll see if they can continue the form, but let's see what happens when they play a good team.
That chip was tasty from Vlahovic. Ooh, delicious. That was a smooth in the 12th minute too. I could feel through the screen, like the vibration of the stadium. You can't have a better start than that. And the fact that their other signing, Zakaria, scored in the second half. We talk about the Champions League winning midfield, Brian. They've added a good piece, it seems like, at least in the first game. And again, we don't want to overreact, but I will say that is where I thought some of their weaknesses were.
Yeah, Zakaria is a nice player. I think that could be a more important signing than Vlahovic, but I don't know. I guess anything better than Morata is nice up top. So I suppose that was $70 million well spent too.
We're anti-Morata on this podcast, I have to say, at least. I find him to be too soft consistently, even though he does put the ball in the back of the net sometimes, but he's not a player that I'd want to play. Sorry, Alvaro.
Of the show, obviously, especially after
he's just unsubscribed from our podcast, but I can't say that I enjoy his his style of play as it relates to the rest of the team builds that I prefer, which is tough, steely defense and silky smooth forward play, which he doesn't provide.
So is Zakaria going to take minutes away from Weston McKennie?
Oh, Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, now that Zakaria is basically going to get a starter job for Juve, there were some reports saying like, okay, so there's going to be Rabiot, Kai on the right, and Arthur in the middle. But I would disagree with that. I would put Rabiot on the bench all day long and earn this spot for the starting job. So for me, it is McKennie if he can do a little bit going forward and do some. Coburn noticed last time on our show, and then Zakaria on the right, and on the left, maybe you get Locatelli or Cuadrado. So I've been at Juve, it sounds like, for 50 years, and Rabiot can come in for the last 30 minutes. Doesn't provide much. I think Colburn actually would want to say something about Rabiot, even more than what I say, and I don't think I hold in my heart because what he did to Paris Saint-Germain and also his performance, that's offensive seems lost. But I know Colburn, Rabiot is also big.
I'm not. I think the less that he plays, the better. That would be my take on him. I think I don't think he'll take McKennie's spot. I think it will allow. I think McKennie will play less though, and that's probably. I can't say undeserved. He's a good player. Zakaria is a good player, or Zakaria, however Brian chooses to pronounce it. I think he's.
I don't know what the real pronunciation of that one is actually.
Maybe our fan, if you know out there, let us know. Can you give us the phonetical pronunciation? We know that Brian can't pronounce Van Dijk, so we need to get the right pronunciation. But I also think he's going to come in. They don't have a lot of depth. Artur doesn't provide the sort of steal that I think they need, and Zakaria and McKennie do. So I imagine them to alternate a little bit in the midfield.
I think Rabiot's ready to move to the MLS.
Damn, already? That's a pretty sharp attack there.
Chris, I thought you'd love that.
I love it. I think Rabiot is probably more in the Europa League kind of game, not MLS just yet, but like a Sevilla, like a team where you don't, run too much.
I don't know, Chris. I see him at Real Salt Lake for sure.
I'm not sure he's gonna like the altitude though, but with his air, it's not gonna be good for his air. Like it's more important than his style of play. But I think Zakaria, to go back to the pronunciation, I think he might have a background from Africa, and if it's French-speaking Africa, that will be Zakaria. So, but it might be English-speaking. So I don't know. So our fans, just let us know what you think. So,
but mystery's out.
That's right. And just to wrap up on Juve and move on to Liga, I think it was pretty solid. So it looks like you like Max Allegri. I've liked his first run, his first spell, but his second run, I feel like it's been like the Didier Deschamps style of play. Like you play your defensive steal, but nothing happens in the middle. Just like hope there is like a penalty and something happens. So what we saw, it looks like this weekend, is that they scored, and after they play defense, which I'm fine with. You don't have to play Barca 95 minutes kind of tiki-taka. But yeah, Vlahovic will solve many problems from less creative Max Allegri on the attack, but you need a strong defense to win titles. So I don't think they will be in the race for the Scudetto. Excuse my Italian accent. But the fourth place was in doubt, and I think they will make it easily with those two big signings.
Yeah, as a newly developed Atalanta fan, having them lost to Cagliari this weekend was a bad look, and an even worse look to have Juventus overtake them in the table. So 0 for 2.
That's right.
So I'm an Allegri fan because I like his steel and his grit, and he delivers results, which is what I love from managers, especially managers in Serie A, who tend to be without the track record of consistency that he has, which is why I love him. But not necessarily a Juve fan at the same time.
Awesome. I think now we want to talk about La Liga.
Oh, here we go, Brian.
That's the Brian show. We saw really good performances from Barca and from someone should be well retired and smoking cigars.
It's incredible.
Well, sounds like he's smoking cigars regardless and still being playing and being paid on a minimum salary and being the best player on the pitch. I'm barely exaggerating. What do you think, Brian?
Well, of course, we're talking about Dani Alves, the 38-year-old Brazilian. Still just a huge G out there. He scored a sweet goal in the second half to put him up 4-1. It was nice to see a pretty full Camp Nou in Barcelona, getting out of COVID for Atletico coming into town. So having them win 4-2 at home is nice. It's been a long time. I think it was their first victory over Atletico in like the last 6 tries or something like that. I thought that, they need that kind of good momentum going. Xavi is kind of righted the ship. They're getting results. I don't know. It's tough to say if they've, truly turned the corner and can be competing with Europe's elite with Xavi at the helm. I think it's a little too early to say that. I was more shocked with how Atletico played than anything else. I mean, to see them give up 4 goals, and it could have been more. It was just a really weird game. If you've ever watched a lot of Atletico games, usually they don't create or allow anyone to create, and it can be pretty stale unless you're a purist of the game. But I mean, even they had a ton of chances to score as well. So it was a really crazy open game. Fun, but I don't think that I'm ready to anoint Barcelona as back or anything like that. But Dani Alves is eternal, so it's great to see him score and get sent off.
Yeah, he as Mark Pozzi said, he got the one type of red card, which is a goal and assist, and one type of hat trick. I blew it. A goal and an assist and a red card. So he's back.
Yeah, I think so. What do you think, Chris, of Barcelona or Atletico?
I think I agree almost point on your analysis. I think it's too early to call it a revival and being back. I think that now they have like a real chance at the 4th place, as Atletico is really crumbling here. I don't know if Betis will be able to carry on the rest of the season. They've been outstanding. And Alves, while it's been great, offensively, defensively, it's a different story when they play against Real in a Supercopa. He was caught times in his back, so that might be a different story. One other thing is Adama Traore, while he was a huge difference maker on the goal. Can he keep on doing this day in and day out? They're still going to be real about not playing Dembele. I mean, if Traore does well, yes. But Traore has never been, even he has a good season, the Wolves. I think it was like maybe like 3/4 of the season. It wasn't even a full season. And the season afterwards, what was that? Like 1-2 goals, 1 assist or something like this, like in games that he fully started, not even like just like coming in. It's a bit too early to see in terms of consistency. We'll see in Europa League. That will be a good test. They can move past the round of 16 and keep. Yeah, Aubameyang. That doesn't sound like in the Barca identity, but like he will be scoring goals. He won't be missing like De Jong or Memphis Depay, who's not real 9. So that might work for this 6 months, but in summer they will need to do the traditional Barca trading show as usual. Maybe trying to go for Haaland, and I don't even know if Haaland is actually a fit. It might be a Zlatan story again, where he's the best 9 available and they want him, and that doesn't work in terms of fit. So we'll see how this goes, but I think it's too early to talk about a revival.
I think it's way too early. They haven't addressed any of the issues that they have. We talked about this on the last podcast.
No, I know, but I'm glad you brought up Traore though. Yeah, he looked awesome. Yeah, 1 game, nothing to overreact to, but he could be pretty dynamic especially in La Liga. I imagine against the lower levels, his speed and ability to get by defenders is pretty elite. So
don't you think Simeone is the real sort of person at fault for this game in particular? I think the Atletico has been shocking at times.
Yeah, I'm sure, it has to start with him for sure. It was crazy really was crazy to see how much they conceded chances and didn't work with the same intensity that you're used to. And anytime in games past when Barcelona would have the ball, PK passing it sideways, you'd see Koke and whoever like just yelling at everyone to be in that 4-4 rigid, 4-4-2 super rigid, and everyone getting into the right positions and making it just impossible to get past. And they just didn't have that same intensity. So I don't know if it's the players that have gotten stale because they haven't had a ton of turnover. This is a team that has kind of been pretty consistent for the last few years. And with Simeone as well, maybe it's time for something to change. But yeah, I mean, I'll keep saying it, but it was just really crazy to see how different they played versus how they've been able to play against top teams in the past.
Yeah, +1. I agree with that.
Yeah, so that's the thing for me is really what will that's a bit of a sad story, like lasting over 10 years in a big club like this. And when you think about where Atletico was before he joined, nowhere, not even Champions League. He brought them on top, almost win the Champions League and got unlucky there, but won some La Liga titles. And yeah, it's gonna be a bad ending, but there is not that many good ending when you're a coach. There is Sir Alex Ferguson, even Arsene Wenger, that stayed after a long spell. Like he was probably asked to leave for like 2 or 3 years until he finally did. And when he did, it was like everyone was against him. So that sounds like the last season for Simeone. I would be interesting to see who comes afterwards and if they change the identity and to play more offensive, and if they are able to still compete like when they were under El Cholo. So that would be interesting to see this summer.
Well, Brian,
I agree.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I was just reminded because of this guy behind me. The only maybe silver lining is nice to see Barcelona play without any reliance on Messi. You kind of can see where they'll rotate to either side of the field and see who's got an opportunity to create something, and it's not like, oh shit, where's Messi? Let's just get it to him and hope he scores. So
which Brian loves, by the way. Brian loves that kind of soccer, that kind of football.
I mean, it was cool because he was able to do it, but this is a lot better. They do have some nice young talent with Pedri and Gavi. So I mean, the revival is kind of on, but some of the chances that Atletico got, like I said, I mean, Barcelona is still kind of lousy in the back. The scoreline's a bit flattering, and Atletico is pretty shocking, but there could have easily been a time if Jordi Alba doesn't score that incredible goal at the beginning of the game, they were down 1-0, and they gave up another couple of good chances. Sometimes the ball bounces a certain way, but it could have been a different scoreline for sure.
Yeah, I agree. Chris, you want to talk about Real?
Yeah, very quickly, obviously. So that's my, I was going to say a shout out to KB9, which stands for Karim Benzema.
That's hilarious.
He wasn't playing, so he's resting for next week's big clash against Paris Saint-Germain. And he should be available this
Which
weekend.
Chris isn't ready for at all.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all to have this guy show Real Madrid that Paris Saint-Germain will come on top at the end of this confrontation. So they didn't really play well, but they edged the score and to win 1-0. And that's what happened when Benzema is not there playmaking anything, even though you still have Vinicius that has been a bit going down a little bit also in terms of form. So because he was in a conversation of like best player in the world at the moment, and he's been a bit down, and you don't have Karim Benzema like delivering those sweet assists and playmaking.
Oh, what a disaster.
Just a totally different game.
I know. As we say, Karim Benzema is a 9 in the body of a 10. So Zinedine Zidane taught him a few things. He called him brother. So if Zinedine Zidane calls you brother, I think you're good to go. You must be good.
And by the way, speaking of PSG, they also took care of business this week as well. But Chris, we won't be reading too much in the score line if I understand this correctly.
That's right. That was a sweet transition. We appreciate that, Colburn, for the MC. We appreciate that job. I know it's a complicated one, so we appreciate it. Paris Saint-Germain played against the other Champions League French club that will be playing against Chelsea. And that's why it was the game of the week on Sunday at 8:45 Lille time. So they beat out Slaughter, we can say 5-1 Lille. But yes, let's not read into the scoreline, because Danilo Pereira scored 2 goals. And Gerbic, Croatian goalkeeper, didn't have a good night. He's been pretty good. He averaged plus good all season. And in that game, he decided he didn't want it to be on the pitch. And Danilo Pereira looks like he's claiming a spot in the starting non-winning Champions League midfield. He probably is coming on top of Herrera at the moment. Gay coming out of his win at the AFCON, that we'll talk about it later. And Verratti. So I think you get the midfield right here. Danilo is not really known to be like such a great ball player, and technically he looks a bit like a midfield from the 80s. But he's got fighting spirit, which is what is lacking
desperately.
So
on PSG.
The physicality that's bringing, it will be interesting, and it looks like to come in shape and in form at the right time. So that's exciting. Speaking of revival, Ben Arfa joining his team in Ligue 1, I believe, with Lille. We thought he would only play like 5 or 10 minutes, substitute and everything, end of games, and he's starting the game. And I think he played like 60 or 70 minutes. He's 35 years old. He was rumored to go to Barca at some point. He had probably
every forward in the world is rumored to go to Barca at some point.
That is true. I was gonna say that also. So he had like a really, really good season at Nice, and that's why Paris Saint-Germain decided to buy him. And then he had some behavioral attitude issues, which led him to the bench, and he ran out his whole contract to basically make a good living and invest in the stock market and to
get into crypto.
Basically, right? So that was his choice, and he could have had a much better career if he would have been consistent. And that's also one of the things with Ryan Cherki from Lyon that might be that got a really bad injury, and we wish him speedy recovery, but it looks like it will be a season-ending injury. It looks like if they don't shape up from an attitude perspective and become more of a Cristiano Ronaldo kind of state of mind and working out and playing for the team, it will be an issue. So it's kind of a waste of talent from Ben Arfa, even though he dribbled on the left side. And one thing that this big man here said after the game, he was speaking on the mic of the French rights owner, and he was saying like, yeah, I know the talent of Ben Arfa, and with Angel Di Maria, we were speaking, and we're like, no, I'm not depending on that guy. I don't want to be nutmeg, man. So you're on it. So he's like such a player that can dribble anyone. So we knew his talent, so that's why we did look at him carefully defensively. And so one last thing to wrap up this Paris Saint-Germain 5-1 victory, Mbappé enroulé. So kind of like Thierry Henry-esque outside of the box and finding the opposite net. Several times we see those kind of goals. We didn't see him score goals outside of the box before. So he's becoming a more and more complete striker, even though he likes to play a little bit more on the half space, the left half space. Is this a sweet spot? Really, and also scoring headers and everything. So really exciting to see him develop, and hopefully he could extend his contract, even though it's not looking likely. So, but one can still hope that Kylian Mbappé stays with us.
Well, first of all, Chris, let me just say I totally agree with all of that. But there's someone else who scored in that game for PSG, and I'm just trying to think about who that might have been.
We know who it is. It's Messi. Just vintage chip. Yeah, I think I made a joke about it last week that the French league must be like the hardest league to score in because Messi had only scored once, but got another one going. So maybe this will be a sign of things to come for the Madrid visit coming up next week.
He needed 2022 to start, and now he's heating up.
Yeah, get through COVID. Yeah.
Also get off the dance floor.
Yeah, he needs to stay off of the dance floor always. We always talk about a Champions League winning midfield, but I think we've got a Champions League winning front three. Colburn, if you just got your Neymar jersey hanging out in the background instead of that anime shit.
Yeah. I'm going to go to the PSG store in Century City and buy, I'm going to buy, I don't know, what's this? Maybe I'll buy a Donnarumma.
You don't even need to. You already have the Neymar.
Yeah, but it's I could do Verratti, but Neymar is not current. It's, as Chris always talks about, it's not the current PSG uniform. And PSG with the Jumpman jersey, I feel like I need to
the Jumpman is nice. That does look very sweet. I might need to jump on that because I've got the Nike old sweatshirt that I always wear. So might be time for a PSG upgrade.
Yes, please. PSG needs your money to buy a new midfield next season, to buy Pogba, to maybe be in the race for Haaland because they don't have this gas money. Technically, it's not oil; it's gas, but from Qatar. So yeah, if you could contribute, chip in a few dollars, that would be sweet.
Might have to do it.
That's hilarious. I'll do it as well. We can make a field trip to Century City.
Yeah, I haven't been yet. It's crazy that you go there every weekend. I used to live very close and work very closely, and then I moved out, unfortunately. So I still haven't had the chance to check it out. But this is sweet that PSG has a store in the city where I live. So I would have never thought that a few years back. So this is very exciting. I absolutely need to check it out. But back on the topic. Ligue 1, Lyon, Monaco. So I know those are not like very well followed the team, especially Monaco, where the stadium is very empty.
Let me just say, Chris, our viewers are coming to us specifically for the less well-traveled paths of international football, and we provide them with updates like this. And so I love it for us. I love it for the viewers. We are here to bring the best football commentary in the mornings, especially in Paris. And so our job wouldn't be complete if we didn't cover Monaco.
Absolutely. And that big man here before Paris Saint-Germain, he came as a rising star on a run to Champions League semi-final with Monaco. So that's
unfortunately they couldn't get past I forget what team that was in the semifinals. It was Juventus. But it was close.
Dude, this guy earlier, hey, I'm not really a Juventus fan. Just kidding. It's Italy. I'm in.
Yeah, I can. That was another Colburn. I can neither confirm nor deny. I'm like all Italians. I'm a fair weather fan at heart. Even though they pretend that they care about their certain teams, the bandwagon is always open.
Good to know. Good to know. So we'll talk about this in a few weeks once we'll get very close to those knockout rounds of qualification of the World Cup. Very great format. Thank you, UEFA, for doing the things right for once, having just one game and you win or you go home. And it's only a semi-final. You need to win 2 games to go to the World Cup. And on top of that, making sure that you put Italy and Portugal in the same bracket and not just them on a different brackets. We love that as neutral fans, don't we?
My Cristiano Ronaldo and insert Turkish player's name here, jerseys are on pre-order. So I'm ready to cheer for them in the World Cup.
Wow. Soft. Can't wait for that.
As an Italian at heart, I'm very soft.
Don't worry. We'll be there to support you somewhat through Italy-Portugal final. it's very difficult for me to make up my mind in terms of if I want to see Cristiano or if I want to see the Euros Cup winning in the World Cup, knowing that France has a 50-50 relationship between Italy and France in terms of winning, and those could be very difficult losses. So,
Chris, you don't have to worry. The Italian players are all going to be in the United States. They'll all be here.
That would be sweet. We're gonna see those games. We'll talk about that later. So, and with a good transition with Shaqiri to be at Lyon. So, just a little bit of a very quick recap on Lyon Monaco. So Lyon, second budget of France, which I believe between 250 and 300 million dollars of budget, which is very small compared to Premier League and other clubs, big clubs in other leagues. But in France, they should be outright number 2. Even Marseille comes a little bit lower than this in terms of budget. And Nice, even if they have a billionaire that owns them, a British billionaire owning them, they are not spending the big cash so far. So they've been spending their money wisely. But Lyon should be on top with the squad, the depth, and also the academy, with the best academy in France, and even on top of Paris Saint-Germain. Well, they were on a big run. They won 3 games or a draw. They were unbeaten in the last 4 games, even against PSG, and beat Marseille midweek. And this could have been a good win and to basically claim their way towards the 4th place and maybe have a chance at a run at the 3rd place, even though there is a 6-point gap that now has been increased wider. But one thing I wanted to note is Aurélien Tchouameni. Talk, Leonardo. Yes. Can I speak to Leonardo, the sporting director of Paris Saint-Germain? Yes. Leonardo, do we have a Champions League winning midfield? Well, we have Herrera. No, we don't. Okay, let me cut you short. We don't. There's this guy that everyone wants. That's the next mix of N'Golo Kanté and Pogba. He plays in France. If you grab him right now, it's going to be cheaper than if you get him afterwards, and they don't want to come back to France and play Ligue 1. So can you please get Aurélien Tchouameni? So Aurélien Tchouameni has been on fire. When his team doesn't play well, he's the best player. When his team plays well, he scores. He's a box-to-box player. He can play more defensively if the games needs to. Tactically, he's always attracting. He's a magnet. He's attracting all the balls. He has the capabilities of dribbling like Pogba and getting the ball back as N'Golo Kanté. So he's a really great mix, and he's very consistent at his 21 years of age. So I'll be excited to see where he signs this summer, and I'm hoping for Paris Saint-Germain, but we'll see. Maybe this will be in Premier League, and because he's expecting to maybe in rumor. So let's go to the Premier League, where I think we want to talk about a club in Liverpool. No, that's not the Reds. We want to talk about the other side of Merseyside, talk about Everton. And I think Brian wanted to say a few words about this club.
Well, we talked about them a bit. I'm going to have to pull up my notes on this one. We talked about them a bit last week, and I mentioned how with them getting Dele Alli and Donny van de Beek, how they just take everyone's leftover scraps from top clubs. And so I did a little research on that. It is as bad as I could have thought it could possibly be. So these guys have gone for the last decade or so, and they've just gone through and signed basically all of the European top teams' leftover scraps of people that have just that have flamed out at really good clubs. So they started out well with Romelu Lukaku from Chelsea. Since then, they signed Aaron Lennon from Spurs, Gerard Deulofeu from Barcelona, Tom Cleverley, and Morgan Schneiderlin from Man United. I haven't heard of those guys.
Schneiderlin?
Yes. Some of these guys are on loan. And I'm skipping, by the way, all their other signings from smaller clubs. These are just who they poached from really good teams. It's like they're just hoping, well, he's played at Man U, so hopefully he'll be good here. No, not the case.
Never.
Man City, they took, I don't know how this guy's name is pronounced. This is French. You might have to help me with this one, Chris. Eliakim Mangala.
Oh, really
I
good.
don't know
Like Mangala, yes.
I don't know what happened to him, but they got him on loan. He didn't do anything. Theo Walcott from Arsenal.
Theo Walcott, by the way, Brian, is the most classic of Everton players.
Yeah,
classic English player. Everton actually is the club team of the English national team. Same style.
They're just a microcosm of England.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
It's ball watching from start to finish.
Yeah, Theo Walcott was fast though. He scored some cool goals.
I agree. Yeah.
Kurt Zouma, Chelsea. Jerry Mina and Luca Dean, Barcelona.
Ooh. Oh, no. I disagree with that.
Yeah. Here we go. Is he French?
Well, hey, I didn't. I know Luca Dean is a decent player.
The most solid signing outside of.
So crazy that you say that, Chris. I can't believe you'd have that.
Stevie G asked for him. Thomas Tuchel asked for him. So there is a reason that they asked for him. He's very solid. Yes, he's like maybe end of top 10 of left backs. Yes, but he's very, very solid and very underrated.
Wait, hold on a second. I didn't cherry pick any of this. This is since Lukaku. This is every one that they took from a top team. So they've hit 2. Digne was a decent player. Well, they don't even have him anymore though.
Yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. He's a good player. Steve, a good friend of the podcast, obviously.
Stevie G, of course.
Yeah, replace my target with him. So as long as on this podcast we don't call him Steven Gerrard, we should be fine.
So Chris,
we won't be making that mistake.
We won't be calling him Steven Gerrard either.
Then it was Alex Iwobi, Arsenal.
Oh my God.
That's another classic Everton.
Oh, Alex Iwobi. Oh my God. That's a classic Arsenal and Everton flick for sure.
Yeah. Moise Ken Juve.
Ooh.
That's kind of a weird one.
He's
like I said, no filters on this list.
Moise hasn't proven himself quite yet.
Fabian Delph, Man City. Andre Gomez, Barcelona. James, Real Madrid. And then the 2 that just happened, Donny van de Beek and Dele Alli. So it's crazy that they just think that they can go to top clubs and be like, well, they used to play with good players, so they'll be good here. And it just consistently doesn't work. Colburn, you sent over this, I know you describe it, this little
heat map.
Yeah, heat map of where teams have possession on the field versus their opponents. Everton's was almost as lousy as Burnley's. Like they don't control the ball on the pitch anywhere better than their opponent, which is just, they should just be better for the money that they spend. And I just think it's crazy how shitty they are every year.
Preach.
That's all I got on Everton.
They lost today. They lost 3-1 to Newcastle. They stink.
Yeah, of course.
They suck.
Yeah, terrible.
And they're going to be their 16th in the table right now.
Yeah.
But don't they have like the best English goalkeeper of all time since Gordon Banks? I thought like he was rumored to take the spot of Lloris at Tottenham and everything, and he was like thinking he was at Tottenham already before the end of the season, and Lloris like, no, I think I'm gonna extend my deal for 2 extra years. Sorry, you're gonna have to wait, my friend.
Oh, they were awful. I'm looking at the lineup. They have good players, but Richarlison was the forward.
Richarlison is good.
Yeah.
No, they have good players. I guess they have good players on paper, but they stink together.
Terrible.
Richarlison with the sporting director of Paris Saint-Germain named Neymar that has asked the real sporting director of Paris Saint-Germain to be like, hey, Richarlison, it would be good if Mbappe leaves for Real. What? No, you replace Mbappe by Richarlison. What's crazy? Please don't listen to Ney on transfer advice, please.
No,
another guy that I love for Everton is Andros Townsend. That's another classic Everton player. He played on the wing today. Great, he's 30. He stinks.
I don't understand how they've just completely incapable of making a
Damari Gray stinks. Anthony Gordon, not good. Seamus Coleman's 33. They started with Allen and Andre Gomez in the midfield, and they both picked up yellows today.
I didn't count Allen because I wasn't sure Napoli was a big enough club. But
they're not.
Well, I went like top 10 only.
They're
on
not.
that list. I just
Mason
didn't
Holgate.
think that Napoli would be on there.
Yuri Mina played, who I used to love, and he's bad for Colombia too. After that last World Cup, Everton is a disaster.
Yeah, I was trying to think though, like when big clubs sell players, like how often do they go to lower tier teams and it's like, that's right, he bounced back. Like this really worked. I feel
Never.
like if you can't make it at a big club, like that's kind of a red flag.
I would agree.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my Everton. Everton sucks, Ram. Maybe we'll just make this a weekly segment when they lose every week. We can talk about it.
Everton watch. The Everton watch.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
We'll have plenty to talk about.
Yeah. And actually, I think, Brian, you just uncovered a gem for Paris Saint-Germain, who cannot unload their player, the Draxler of the world, that used to be a really great signing and good player. But now is more interesting as Paris by night than Paris on the pitch. But the problem is, like, I don't think Liverpool will be a big sell for them to leave. Like, hey, we'll send you to Liverpool. You're going to play for a great club. Joking, you play for Everton. It's not the Reds. You thought we sent you for the Reds. Maybe that could be a strategy. So I'll tell Leonardo, maybe he can try that, because we can't sell the players of the of those kind of players, the Herrera, we got Rafinha on loan to Real Sociedad, so that was coming out of nowhere. That was pretty good. So that's one thing. So I think to wrap up this English Premier League, we wanted to talk about Paul Pogba. Okay, yes, when he comes back, he scored a goal in Premier League. He came back in Cup, but scoring a goal. And when he scores a goal, usually it's not a scrappy one. So trying to find the roof of the net, even he was in close range. One thing that
in
was
style, as
always
always.
in style, always in the Pog bounce, the Pog haircut, the Pog everything, the Pog whatever you.
Oh, he's Pog back.
Pog back. So, but more seriously, the most interesting for me was that Ragnick basically played him in the best position that he's a fit for, which is a double pivot. But that's not the position he wants to play. He wants to play number 10. But yes, he's very technical, but he's not very consistent up there in the pitch that he used to be at Juve. So his best position is in the middle of the park, but he will need to defend. And he doesn't like to do that consistently for all season. So now there's like 10 games remaining. So I think for 10 games, that's the length of a tournament. So I think he can do it. So it will be interesting to see if he can get back to in shape and healthy for a while and get ready for the World Cup. So we need Paul Pogba so he can take under his wing Tchouaméni. So that would be interesting to see.
We love Pogba on this podcast.
We love Pogba, and I love going through all of the leagues of Europe to talk about every French player that's out there. It's great.
Yeah. We're trying to, we're streaming for Paris time, so you gotta bring in those Paris audience.
That's where our bread is buttered.
That's right. So we gotta speak about the French players, and I mean, they are everywhere in every club, and they are really good. Like even in Betis Seville with Nabil Fekir having his best season ever.
I'm shocked you didn't bring that up earlier.
I know.
Where have we been? Chris, you're losing your edge.
That's right. It will be for the next show. We don't want to make this show too long today. So that's this thing. So I think right now we want to talk about this rumor of the 20 clubs of Serie A would be coming and play a tournament US side. So that would be without the international, that would be at the World Cup, because that would be during the World Cup, because there would basically be 6 weeks without official games. So those teams will have to think about an arrangement to keep those in-season players still in shape. And so why that might be interesting for us to see some teams from Serie A, even though without their best player. That would be interesting to see. If that brings also some awareness in the US and see how this would be exciting. So I would love to hear Colburn's and Brand's take on that. So what do you guys think?
So
hold on a sec, Colburn. What is the format of this exactly? They're just going to come and play during the World Cup?
A 20-team, 20-day something tournament.
There is not that much structure right now. It's zero structure. So they are doing basically like kind of like Champions League, I think, like a pool. Then after they narrow it down to a bracket. So that basically it lasts 6 weeks, right? Because if you start, first of all, you cannot do a bracket with 20 teams, right? So you need to find a way to eliminate some of those teams. And then after to have a name that's like either 16, which would be round of 16. And then you can do maybe out of 2 games. So they haven't thought about it. And first of all, this will need the agreement of or the crowning of the MLS and the USF. And they would probably need to pay for having them here.
This couldn't be a bigger waste of time.
So
they're going to play at night after the World Cup is played in Qatar in the morning for us.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
In a way to still keep the players fit.
Oh God, I hate everything about that. So lame.
It's in fact the good news is it's still quote in the embryonic phase. This is what happened.
Hopefully it never gets out of that stage.
I think this is a total waste of time. In fact, this is what's happening. So Syria, I'm going to give all of the listeners out there the 411 on how Italian Soccer Federation works. They opened up a new office in Manhattan. And so they took the trip to Manhattan for a business trip. And they basically floated this idea of like, oh, we've heard about the Super League. Well, why don't we do like a little Serie A thing here in the United States, which basically replicates some of the meaningless summer-friendly tournaments that we generally see in the United States. And they go, why don't we do that during the World Cup? And they pitched the broadcasters in New York about whether or not they would pay for it. And this is coming from a league that is routinely one of the last to set their schedules at the beginning of every year and one of the last to organize the TV rights here in the United States. They have never had their eye on the ball, so to speak. And I don't consider this to be any different. When they say they've been floating this around for months, this says to me that this is a half-baked idea that they're trying to drum up support with through news media outlets to get us, the main media source here, to talk about it. But there's nothing behind this. And in fact, once you start peeling back the layers, I don't trust Serie A to be able to execute this in any way, shape, or form that's at all entertaining to the neutral or to Lionel Messi behind you, Brian.
No, it sounds lame. It's kind of like everything we always do here. I feel like the MLS is always playing during international breaks and like just dumb stuff like that. Hey, let's just have extra games. If everyone's gonna be interested in the World Cup, we'll just put Serie A on at night. It's like I don't like anything about it. No. Especially if all the good players aren't even going to be playing because they're going to be halfway across the world.
I hope that Shaqiri is watching though. He'll be able to watch in the time zone of his choice.
Shaqiri would be playing in the World Cup too.
I think Shaqiri makes it to Qatar.
Yeah, that's true. He won't even be there either, so we shouldn't do this.
That's right. I mean, I think La Liga has tried to play a season game in Miami, and it's been killed each time.
No one's going to pay for it because as soon as you start asking, well, how much revenue is this going to generate? Who's going to watch Sassuolo Calgary? I'll tell you this: it's just the three of us, and it might not even be Brian. It's just yeah. So nobody is going to pay.
Who's not going to be on Sassuolo? Berardi, he'll be well.
He's going to be playing for Sassuolo. That is a fact. He's going to be right in the mix there.
Maybe if Italy doesn't qualify, it makes sense because then all the Italians could be over here.
Well, that's also why they're doing it because I can tell you the Italians are panicking already and they're thinking of a way to keep the ball moving until in the case that they don't qualify, which is possible. I just don't think an American audience is going to care. An American audience would have paid. They would have gotten the rights through a Serie A through ESPN or BN Sports at a way earlier date, which would have proven the value of something like this well before this moment. And there's no value in the United States for this. As much as I love Serie A, the average American football fan, let alone the average American, is out.
Yeah, the only thing that would move the needle would be like Premier League, and even the Premier League, like would be six. And the big six without their World Cup players,
their whole teams.
Yeah.
So yeah, that I don't know, like the value. I mean, one thing that I'll be a little bit less, why I think I'm like maybe like 2 levels lower than you, is that you probably guys have seen that those kind of stupid ideas coming your way.
Gimmick after
all
gimmick.
the time.
And for me, like, because I'm halfway across the world now, and I cannot see like a club game from a league of but that's the thing. For me, it's the nostalgia of like thinking, oh, I will see like a real good club game, but actually, no, it will be just the teams without the names. And so
it's gonna be played on artificial.
friendly.
It's gonna be played in artificial turf in Minnesota.
That's true. By minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, and the coach of
it'll be cold.
Of Sassuolo's team who might take a picture with the fans before the cold.
There's plenty of room for selfies on the bench for this tournament, as far as I'm concerned.
I think it would be a great way, though, for everyone to forget that Italy didn't qualify for the World Cup, is to have all of their players playing that night.
Actually, I take it back. I think this is a great idea. I think this is brilliant. This is a stroke of genius from the Serie A directors.
Wait, where's Chiesa? Oh, here he's playing for Juventus in America. Nice.
Oh, he's
best
playing
of both worlds.
He's playing at the Sporting KC Stadium. This is going to be sick.
Hey, if they were at LAFC Stadium or at the Rose Bowl, though,
of course
I could go to one of those.
I'd be like, take my money. Take my money and take my selfie during the game.
I guess that's what it is. If it's like Fiorentina Juventus at LAFC Stadium, you guys would go. I'd go.
Yeah, I'd go.
Yeah.
Maybe they're onto something.
Yeah, but they're not going to get TV rights for it, which is the point of them talking to the broadcaster.
No, that's hilarious. The World Cup's in what? 9 months?
I don't know. Yes. I mean, maybe
9 months. Yeah.
No. Maybe they get TV
less.
rights.
8.
The World Cup rights are for Fox and ESPN. They're just gonna have to do shoulder programming, and they're gonna have to do behind the games and talk about stuff, and they won't have rights to talk about. And well, like maybe ESPN is in the market to buy those stuff, and they have ESPN Plus, and they need to put content on their platform. Everyone talks about the World Cup, and they have no rights. So okay, yes. If Serie A is looking to make the same amount of money than they make when they play the Supercopa in Saudi Arabia, yes, that won't be that kind of money. But I think at this time, based on like everything that Serie A is trying to do to open their capital to foreign investment, and especially American investment banking, BlackRock, Goldman Sachs, and all that stuff, I think they are in for any kind of penny they can have. I mean, the difference will be like maybe Saudi Arabia will say, hey, you guys play Supercopa, we like each other. Why don't you come here? We'll give you how much money the US is giving you. We triple that. And maybe that's it.
I think the money part of it is fine. It's more that in 9 months, will they put together something coherent? No, that's the part that will be lacking to me. It'll be a half-baked, scrambled idea that will be haphazardly thrown together and poorly advertised leading up to it, because it'll still be like they'll be figuring it out. So that's the part that they'll screw it up. I think that the idea of doing something is good, and these clubs find ways to make more money. Is they should be doing that kind of stuff, but in 9 months they won't figure it out. That's the point.
I have nothing more to add.
Especially
the
Italians.
Agree. The Italians
maybe
have
if it was
chance.
another league.
They can't even figure out Serie A every year, and they know when it's coming.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Anyway,
hey,
so
2 weeks before the game. Hey, what day are they playing? I don't know. They haven't released it yet.
Anyway, we should talk about speaking of the MLS, by the way, we should talk about Shaqiri to the Chicago Fire, which I think is hysterical. As one of our favorite styles of players ever, the FIFA low guy. A true gem among FIFA cards. Shaqiri also fits that bill. We managed to talk about one low guy every single episode, and Shaqiri is our guy today.
I don't have too much to say on Shaqiri because I don't care about the MLS, but I will say that a low guy is the opposite of what you need in an MLS transfer.
Is the opposite of what you need on your FIFA team and what you need in your real life team.
The MLS is like the biggest sprinters league of all time, and if you're a low guy, you can't hang. So that makes no sense, and he will fade off.
He'll fade like Pirlo.
Maybe he'll just take corner kicks.
Yeah, you just hang out like Pirlo. Oh, what do you mean everybody's running here?
All right, I'll give you a little bit of context of all of that. So Shaqiri, last season that he's playing decently was for Stoke City, I believe, season 18-19. That wasn't like a true mega success, but he played like as a starter, as you would expect a Swiss international at Stoke City. He also played with Atembera at Stoke City, actually. Or that was who? No, mixed up my wires here. That's not true. We'll erase that from the tape, obviously.
Yeah, cut that, Chris.
Cut the tape.
I cut the tape. And then he's like, oh, wow, Liverpool wants me. I'll do better than that Bayern when I was on the bench. Okay. I don't even play when all the 6 starters don't play. And Jurgen Klopp has an issue even playing me the season when they go for the title and they basically have all their midfield injured. And he scores. He delivers an assist and all that stuff. He scores, but he plays terribly. And, then after they're like, okay, let me bring Shaqiri. I need a winger. It will be good. He will run fast. He will be able to consistent and play 90 minutes. He comes in. He's like, oh, it turns out he's out of shape. Oh yeah, he's not been playing for Liverpool for like 3 seasons. Oh yeah, but he scored those bangers at the Euros. Oh yeah. And Lyon is like, oh my God, we signed him for 3 years. We're never gonna be able to unload him. And I don't even know what happened. I think I know what happened. So in El Olympico, so when the Olympique de Marseille plays against Olympique Lyonnais, they won, and Shaqiri scored a goal, a header. He scored a header. Yes, he scored a header. It's very small and tiny. He scored a header and it delivered an assist. And so basically, Lyon probably did a highlight reel and send it to MLS, and like Chicago Fire thought it was a good idea, a well-spent $7.5 million on Shaqiri. If they give me the $7.5 million, I'll do them a whole mercato, a whole training window. I get them a defender. I get them a midfield. I get them a good striker for all that prize money and on free or on loan, and with no options to buy if they don't want to. So Lyon was like, they couldn't believe it that Chicago put pen to paper and agreed to pay. not even like Arsenal that basically did like, I know you guys won't have like any money, Barca, to buy him, so we just release him. We even pay him to release his contract, and you guys don't have to pay a transfer fee. They succeeded to make Chicago pay a transfer fee on a player that's not been great. So I think it will be one of the worst signing of MLS of all time, because right now it's like, oh, he's only 30, he's coming at his prime. Wow, Shaqiri has never been at his prime in club. So I think it will be one of the worst.
Oh, we've been spitting fire tonight. We've just been burying guys left and right. Shaqiri is the latest guy to get steamrolled. I couldn't agree more with you though, Chris. He stinks.
He does. Unfortunately, I don't know what they think.
The MLS is, they don't know where they are.
There is no promo relegation, and I think because of that, they can spend that money. But honestly, it's not worth spending money. You won't get people to buy his jersey.
Nobody knows who he is outside of people who care about football.
I know. Is there a big Swiss community in the US? There is barely a French community. So do you think there is a Swiss community? And if there is a Swiss community, I would think they live in New York and they are all bankers, obviously stereotyping here. Yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. I think they're like, oh, it's opportunity buy. I went to a transfer market just like the guy of Toronto FC, and I saw, actually we're making fun of him, but actually it's a better Insigne is
it's a better buy.
Signing.
Way better. He's at least got technical ability, and will run a little bit harder, I would assume.
Yeah.
I don't think
Shaqiri.
Insigne is not a low, so he's
No.
gonna try.
You have to run. You have to run. If I know anything of the MLS, it's you have to run. That's it. That's what that league is. That's why Javinko was like, I don't really know what's going on here, but that's because all they do is run.
Yeah. Well,
and that's why I don't watch it, among other reasons.
Okay, let's wrap up on a positive note. I think Colburn and we wanted to speak, and how could we do a show a few days only after the historical win of Senegal that basically gave a bank holiday the day afterwards, and that was fully paid off, and the whole population celebrated. And that's how what you see, a population that's a true fan and has a true footballing culture. So it was really amazing to see people being really happy and the player being happy and enjoying it. And Senegal has been in a drought. They haven't won anything, and they were probably one of the best footballing countries in the world that have not won any title. So I'd love to see what you thought, Corbin.
Oh, it was sick. I loved the scenes, the videos, the parade, the bank holiday, the whole thing was great. I called it from the beginning. I was like, they need to win this. They need to win this tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It was all good. I loved every bit of it.
Yeah, he totally called it. Hey, they definitely should be more focused on the World Cup qualifying in a month or two. So
I remember saying,
I'm glad that you've come around and realized that winning the trophy, first one ever, is a big deal, and it's awesome for them to finally have that. I think it's cool with the coach that was the player. I think he missed a penalty or something like that in the 2002 African Cup of Nations final, and to now be the coach and get them their first trophy it's pretty special. And yeah, the scenes of them just going through the streets of I'm sure whatever the capital of Senegal is. Yeah, right. That. I mean, that's cool stuff. And then you had on the flip side, you had Egypt taking the Colburn approach and saying, hey, now we got to go get them in the World Cup qualifying. So just cool stuff all around. And that rematch next month for a spot in Qatar is a cool little wrinkle to it too.
My only problem is that I find that, like, for someone who watches AFCON more than the average football fan, which I watch a lot of AFCON, I watch a lot of African World Cup qualifying too. I get buried with 0-0 draws all the time. Mm-hmm. And this was another one of those, a 0-0. Now, granted, Senegal was better, and I thought that the result was just. But man, give me a goal for a little bit of effort here. Both the semifinal and the final that I watched were just miserable 0-0 affairs, even though the final was a little bit more exciting.
That's how basically Egypt has been able to be dominant on the country.
Oh, their goalie was incredible, by the way.
Like even though
Gabanski.
Yeah. Even though they, besides Salah and even before Salah, they didn't have like mega star player of the level of Salah before. They had the Mohamed Zidane of the world and few other stars that are stars in the African continent, but not beyond that. They have a really good league to the level of the African nations in terms of club level. And so to some extent and some degree to a lower level, obviously, it's kind of the German strategy where you have most of your players that play in the same league, that play together, that play the same football. And so they are the most organized national team. And so that's how they've been able to win so many AFCONs, because they are organized. And that's one of the...
they don't give up goals.
Yeah,
they don't give up. They don't give up. They don't give up scores.
Of all African nations team, they have really good talent on paper, but then after they're not organized and they are not following tactically, especially defensively, as you mentioned. So that's how what has explained their success and until a shootout that they've been the kings of this whole tournament. I'm pretty sure it probably was pretty nerve-wracking for Mane that has missed a pen before the 10th minute to be like, you know what, I'll still go kick that ball, and I'll kick on the same side, but this time I'll put it closer to the post and harder, and so the goalkeeper won't be able to get it. You have to be really strong mentally to get it. And so the funny story is that Salah now is back in Liverpool, and Mane, I believe, might be in the plane right now. But as of early this morning, he was still celebrating, and rightfully so.
I agree. I think it's awesome. Awesome for the Senegalese.
We're Team Senegal going forward.
Yeah, we are. I'll be rooting for them to beat Egypt again.
Yeah.
I think they're more interesting.
They are way more interesting.
They are, but in my experience of watching in sports those kind of rivalry or those kind of matchup, it's especially in tournament, what I've seen is that the same team play in the pool group, and then after they play each other in final, usually the team that wins in group stage loses in final. And so I'm worried that Egypt will use that big lack of that issue of not winning that game and use that as motivation to beat Senegal. And Senegal, hopefully they'll be able to recollect mentally and physically very quickly because Egypt will be ready. And I unfortunately, I have Egypt more favorite on that double confrontation. So because of that empirical data that I've looked at. So that's one thing, because you think, oh, they beat them, so they'll beat them again. Well, yeah, they beat them at penalty shootout, first of all. And usually that's what you see. You see those momentum that happens where like, oh, Senegal's coming to momentum, but they've partied a little bit too hard. Okay, they have like a month and a half to recover.
As Brian always says, it's hard to beat the same team multiple times in the same season. It's just hard. It's really hard. So that's why I'm glad we framed the issue last week. I took the wrong path, but we framed the issue well last week, which is, do they care about this final or do they care about the World Cup? And I think that was the right way to look at it. So I'm giving Brian a little bit of credit on that.
And myself too. We were two.
Yeah, Chris was on my side. One. Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. I was
obviously you don't remember when you were wrong. Obviously you tend to forget very quickly, Corbin.
Yeah, I blacked it out. So anyway, I think that's it, gentlemen. I think that's another edition of the Supersub podcast. Any final thoughts this evening before we leave our viewers?
Well, we're getting very exciting next week. Some round of 16 Champions League. It's creeping on us. So very exciting. I hope that guy will be doing this celebration more than once next week at Parc des Princes. So counting on him, and also the guy behind Brian, obviously.
Yeah. Champions League coming up is going to be huge. I think there's a little tournament going on right now, the Club World Cup. Not sure.
It's true. We didn't cover that on this show today.
But yeah, no, Champions League. It always takes this like 2-month hiatus, which is kind of brutal. But now it's here, and it's going to be pretty much every
business
week
end.
The year,
the business end of the tournament, as they say.
Yeah, knockout league or knockout stage of the Champions League always delivers. So looking forward to seeing some more goals from our boy right here. So
he's excited, and so are we. All right, well, awesome. Again, thanks everyone for listening. The Supersub podcast. Be sure to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button to get the latest updates. You can find us on YouTube, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you all next week. Thanks, everyone.
Ciao, ciao.